Hi, my name's Kurt. My wife and I of 32 years have been retired for the last 3.5 years. We've learned a lot along the way. Prior to that, I spent 30 years in corporate America working mostly on continuous improvement, which gave me a desire to optimize in everything in life. If this content sounds interesting to you, please feel free to like and subscribe to the channel. Also, share it with friends that may also be interested in this kind of content. Also, please remember I'm not a financial advisor, and this content should be viewed for informational and entertainment purposes only. So what have my wife and I learned over the last 3.5 years of retirement? Well, we've learned quite a bit, and for now we'll break it into 3 categories: financial, lifestyle, and purchases. From the financial standpoint, one of the greatest things we learned after a year into retirement was to fully explore all of your health insurance options. We spent the first 18 months working on COBRA, or extension of my prior employer's health insurance, where we paid the entire bill. After that, we were able to modulate our income, at least how the federal government saw it, and we were able to take advantage of the ACA plan, or more commonly known as Obamacare. Under this, because we showed a relatively low income, we were able to have the government pay a majority of our health insurance costs. It went from nearly $21,000 a year to a couple hundred. Another thing we learned was don't watch the stock market daily. It is very volatile and can cause great amounts of stress. Now, this is easier said than done, and I'll let you know when I achieve it. Closely tied to that is don't be the one who wants to die with the most money. It's a long process, but you need to learn how to save and spend cautiously, but not overly cautiously. Third is to understand the total tax equation. And when I say the total tax equation, I include in that the subsidies we get for our health insurance. Early on, I was trying to take advantage of being in lower tax brackets to do Roth conversions. Later, I learned that those Roth conversions still showed as income as part of the modified adjusted gross income calculation that the government does in order to figure out how much subsidies you'll get to your health insurance. Lastly, under the financial sector, it's a team game. You and your spouse must collectively decide how and where you want to spend money. For us, budgeting used to be a painful chore that used to cause arguments. Now it's a source of joy as we get to elect where we want to spend money and how we want to spend money. Next, from a lifestyle perspective, I'll separate it into 2 categories. Those things that we learned we really enjoy in our lifestyle, and those things that we've learned should not be part of our lifestyle. As far as the positive elements that we love, 1, daily exercise. We now have the free time to make exercise one of the most primary parts of our day. Whether that's walking or lifting weights in the gym you see behind me, we elect to spend a good portion of our day getting our daily exercise. Secondly, we found we need to schedule social interactions with people outside of our household. It's important to keep those social interactions up, as you don't want to become recluses in retirement. Third, now that we have the time, we've chosen to travel slow, meaning most of those trips have been road trips, traveled via car, staying along the way throughout the country. It's really enhanced not only just the destination, but the journey being part of the fun as well. Another element of our lifestyle that we've really chose to enjoy is how to utilize the house. We live in the same house that we raised 3 kids in, and now with just the 2 of us, there was a lot of extra square footage. But we've utilized that space now. We've converted 2 of the bedrooms that used to house children into workspaces or hobby spaces for each of us. We've also converted the basement you're looking at into our exercise kingdom. The next thing that I learned more specifically was to soft schedule my days. I started out with I don't want to have anything on my calendar after 30 years and where I would have 6 to 7 meetings a day, into 0 meetings. I don't want to have anything, and we'll play every day by ear. Just figure it out as it comes. Then I went to another phase where everything was regimentally scheduled. Exercise from 8:30 to 10, The calendar was full again. Well, what I've learned is I should have certain portions of my day soft scheduled, but be entirely flexible to change it all up should the need arise. Another element where we've grown, and my wife was a tremendous cook before retirement, but we've really learned to expand our cooking. It's cheaper, healthier, and tastes way better than what you can get out. Another area where we've learned is that we should have both shared and individual hobbies and passions. You spend a lot of time with your spouse in retirement, and that's great, but you also need some time to yourself and time with other friends in your life. And finally, we've learned more than ever, you got to respect the relationship, have planned dates, act like you're dating. You can take a lot of stuff for granted and easily the relationship can start to get a little stale. Now some areas of our lifestyle that we've learned we don't like these things and we got to change. One is initially when I retired, I treated life like it was spring break. Every day was a party. This resulted in too much drinking and not feeling great the next day. Since then, we have both elected to stop drinking altogether and have spent the last 13 months without any drinking in our lives. Secondly, don't care too much about politics. That will take you swirling around the drain. Linked very closely is don't watch the news too much. You'll figure out what's going on in the world. You don't need to engross yourself in it. Also tied to that is believing that the mainstream news and much of social media is factual. It's not. Many of them are trying to lead you down their narrative. Except for this channel, of course. 100% factual. The next one is something we've come to recently. When you have grown children, offer them advice when you're asked for it. Period. Don't offer it if it isn't requested. This also takes time and we're slowly getting better at it. And as I mentioned in the positive, don't take your spouse for granted. Still continue to woo them. Now, some of the things we've purchased in retirement that we've loved and would buy again tomorrow if that item broke today. First of all, our e-bikes. We use them non-stop when the weather allows here in Colorado, which is mainly April through October. Secondly, high-end walking shoes, something else we do a lot of in the summer times, even in the winter if you bundle up. Third, also related to health and fitness, is Apple Watches. We get a lot of feedback on what behaviors are good and what are not so good, and it's motivating to see those results. Fourth, tied to the e-bikes, is walkie-talkie helmets. We spent about a year not having them and only being able to communicate at stops or when the ride was over. Now we can use them throughout the ride and talk, and it's unbelievable how good the technology is. You don't hear wind, and it's like they're next to you. The next one is something we enjoy each and every day, regardless of the time of year, and that was a high-end coffee maker. We spent a large amount of money getting a machine that will make us any kind of coffee we want, and it does it for cheap, and the coffee tastes delicious. It's the first hour and a half to 2 hours of our day. Another thing we've found about how to spend our money is to buy high quality. Buy it for life kind of quality stuff. Don't buy more cheap stuff. Buy less good stuff. Another one that's tied to one of our lifestyle elements is buy the right stuff to do the cooking at home. We've bought the right accessories and the right equipment for outdoor cooking that have enabled us to do what we can do at home. The next one you're looking at right now, and that's a movie theater we put in our basement. We bought these seats that recline and a popcorn popper and a large TV, and we have a weekly movie night down here. And finally, all this stuff is great, but what we found is stuff is good for 5 minutes and then you forget about it. We've elected to spend more money on experiences, travel, time with going to see our kids, time to see other parts of the country and world. Some of the things we've spent money on that we've learned we don't like and we shouldn't in the future is impulse buys. I bought a couple of tech items that I thought looked cool. Turns out I didn't use them and they were just a waste of money. And finally, we've elected no longer to spend money on things we don't need but are a good deal. Too often we would be going through Costco and see, hey, that's a great deal on something, only to find out, yep, we saved a lot of money on something that sits in the closet. Well, those are some of the things we've learned in our first 3.5 years of retirement. If you feel like I missed something or want to add to the list, please do so down in the comments. Thanks and have a great day. We'll see you next time.